Hey. Welcome to this episode of the Hooligan Alley Reviews. I am your reviewer, J.W. Sims, and today we will be talking about Tales from Nocturnia. This is the full miniseries, issues 1 through 3. It is by, I'm going to mess this up because it's a weird name, but if you watch any of these, you know I'm terrible at names. So, Insymmetry Creations. Gosh, I can't speak today. Anyway, I'm sorry I missed yesterday. This would have been the review for yesterday, but I was a little sick, so I just jump on today. So there will be one on Saturday to make up for yesterday. So everything just got pushed a day ahead. But anyways, we're talking about first Tales from Nocturnia, issue number 1. It is co-created and co-written by Steph Cannon and Matt Knowles. And the art is by Javi Laparra. And I think that's all the creative. This miniseries is kind of a spin-off from the Heirs of the Isildur series, which I think now is up to 11 or 12 issues. The King Lucian is in the Isildur series. He is taken from Nocturnia, and that's where this story picks up. It shows what happens in Nocturnia while he's gone. Our main character, Benonoch, who is a executioner who decides he doesn't want to do that anymore, and it's kind of his journey and to save Nocturnia from the evil beings from, I can't remember because it's a weird name. It's in one of these. Here, I'll find it real quick. It's not really weird, but to me, I'm terrible with names, so obviously, Sinisterian. So, let me go ahead and get into issue number 1. The first thing, this is just your standard cover, glossy pages. It's nothing special, really. I mean, this is from Kablam, who does all of my comic book work, so this is what I'm used to when I see mine. But it's not bad. I like the cover. It just has Benonoch's face being reflected in the executioner's axe. Just make sure so I love that. And there's 30 pages of story, which is really good, unless you're like me. And I'll get to that later. I'm a slow reader. So there's a lot of story in those 30 pages. I will say that. You don't get ripped off on your story. There's a lot going on, and it really sets up the rest of the series. Like I said, it is an interesting setup at the end. Like, just this whole thing where, a little bit more backstory. The queen is caught sleeping with Zarak, which is like the king's right hand man. So the executioner has to execute Zarak, and that was like one of his best friends. And then the queen is so distraught, she throws herself off the castle and kills herself. And the king, listen to me, I'm thinking of something else. The king, Lucian, rides off into the forest. And that is when he is taken from the, what the hell is, I'm sorry, I can't never, the Heirs of the Isildur, and that's where he's removed from Nocturnia and put into that book. And so the kingdom's in upheaval because there's no leader, and they're afraid that the Sinisterians, whatever, will know that, and that's their main rival, and will attack the kingdom. But And it doesn't feel like, because I do say there's 10 or 11, 12 books in the Seal Door series. You could pick this up, and it doesn't feel like you've missed anything because they give you a nice little, this is what you missed kind of thing page, and it just picks up with the king leaving. So there's that. The one thing in this book that was harder for me is the font choices, I guess. I'm going to see if I can. I mean, it's all over the place, but it changes size. Sometimes it's a little bit bigger, and sometimes it's wee little. And for someone like me who has hard to see to begin with and hard to read, it makes it a little bit harder. I know there was a page where it was really tiny, but I don't remember where it is. And the other thing, I'll just show you a example if I can find a good one. It's probably near the beginning. Like this page. I don't know if you can see it, but the word balloons are like brown color, which is okay. And it's got, the white lettering, and then it's outlined in black. And sometimes those make it hard for me to read. I mean, a lot of people might not bother, but with me being blind as a bat and having trouble reading to begin with, it makes it a little tough. So it was slow reading for me. And like I said, it's very wordy. I mean, if you just look, it's very wordy. It made me feel like I was reading a Todd McFarlane written Spawn. Takes me a while to read those too. And also, like some of the characters, I don't know if it's the art, but a lot of the secondary characters, like the knights and stuff, it was hard for me to differentiate who they were. And there's some scenes that aren't well distinguished, that we changed places. And I think that's more so in the second book I noticed. I'd have to look again. But, yeah. So that's, that's probably all the bad stuff I have. But overall, let me see if overall I give issue 1 a 3.5. Stinky, smelly, garbage infested trash cans, which is good in the alley. It means none of that crap's in your house. But I give issue 1 a 3.5. So, and then we move right into issue 2, Tales from Nocturnia issue 2. It's the same creative team, I believe, except for they added Jesse Hansen, who is doing the inking in this book. But they switched printers. So now this is it's a thicker cardstock-like cover. It's kind of glossy. The pages are similar, probably about the same. Also glossy pages. But forgot to count how many pages, but it is still like a pretty thick book, as you see. So it's probably over 30 pages as well. Like the print quality, like I said, is upgraded. I don't know exactly how long is between this, but I noticed a little bit of the art is a little bit better, but I don't know if that's because of the inker or if the artist just improved, because that happens. As artists, we evolve and become better. My favorite character, he was introduced in the second book, and I just really liked him. I can't think of what his name was. It's a very weird name, but he is this little raccoon right here, but he's a shapeshifter. So he's just like comedy relief in the book. But he is actually a very important person in the book as you get into chapter 3. Trying to see. Oh, the story definitely moves forward in this book. You could see where they're heading to. Obviously, if the cover, it looks like a war's coming or something. And there's a good cliffhanger at the end of book 2. So it really made me feel like I want to know what happens in the third book. Literally, as soon as I finished this and I started the third book, which is kind of rare for me because I usually, especially a book this big and wordy, it takes me a little bit to decompress before I can start a new book. And I will say that the font is a little bit easier to read in this one. I don't know if they made it bigger or what, because it still uses that same dark word bubbles with the white font and the black outlines of them. But I did like this one. The things I didn't like about it is the cover set up, like the whole idea. I think that these characters are pushed too far back. I'd rather have seen like maybe this. I mean, I understand why the love is there, but maybe we could have had the characters bigger on the front. I don't know. For me, there's all this almost negative space behind. I know people don't like to move into the title, but that's fine, especially if it's a bunch of these people in the back. So, and also like you could have, I don't know, but that's one of the things of the books, this is my least favorite cover. There's a couple spots where I kind of got lost reading it. Like the word balloons are in a strange order. I should have wrote down a page number so I could have found it easier. But obviously I didn't. But there was just a few spots like that. And like I said, with it being hard for me to read, I'd read something and I just try to do it the way, you always read, and it didn't work. So I'd be like, okay, I got to go back and reread this and figure out where the next word balloon goes. Because with me, if, like I said, also being hard to read, whenever I have to try to figure out which order the word balloons go, and it kind of takes me out of the story. But this is probably like another thing was like the color setup. There's no like use of colors to differentiate scenes. Like some people will use like cool and warm colors, kind of to indicate where certain parts of the story is taking place. Like there is one part which there is two parts of the Nocturnians who are fighting, and they're fighting in two different places, and it confused me because it would go straight from one to the other, and I wasn't quite sure. Like, see this double page spread here, if I can bring it back so you can see it. Like, that's the one group that was fighting, and then like I guess it wasn't the next page, but there's another part where like that where they're fighting, and then it switches to another place, and it was difficult for me to, especially because again the characters, there's not a whole for me it was hard to differentiate from different characters. So when they kind of like Game of Thrones, if you ever watch that or read that, a lot of the characters seem similar, and so it's hard to like really differentiate them, and that's why I said characters were too similar. And there was a couple of spots where the font got really small, and I really should start like marking these things so I can show you guys what I'm talking about. Here. Like on this page, let me see if I can get it. Let's see, where is it? Oh, it's where that old guy is. I gotta find it. Okay. There. So you see, I mean, here it probably doesn't look that small because I'm zooming in on it, but as I'm reading it, it is tiny for me. So that was the other thing. But overall, I give issue 2 of Tales from Nocturnia a 3.75. I upped it a little bit because I said the art has changed a little bit. I think the upgrade of print quality was good. Like the story, it really moves the story along. So you're really set up for that third and final issue of this mini-series. Yeah, so 3.75 out of 5. And that brings us right in to issue 3 of Tales from Nocturnia. This is actually my favorite cover of the series. I'm trying to get to the light's not in it, but that doesn't help when it's a glossy cover. I don't know if you can, trying to hold it so you can see it. There you go. And there's a couple different additions to the art team and stuff on here. Of course, Steph and Matt are still the co-creators, co-writers. Matt is also the letterer, and he does the flats. Stephen Baker took over as the artist, and Bryan Arfel Magnaye is the lead colorist, and Nestor Radolia Jr. is the assistant colorist. Jesse Hansen does the inks on pages 1 through 6. And Harrison Wesley Hansen did the back cover, which is the Dragon Lord mask, which is actually like a photo, it looks like, and then it's just added outline and stuff to it. But this book, the art, I think the art has improved. Trying to find like a nice splashola page or something where there's not a whole bunch to confuse you with, because there's a lot of panels in this book, I will tell you that. Here's a nice page of art. Doesn't really spoil much. And I'll get to that. There's these 2 pages that I really think should have been side by side instead of a flip over, but that's okay. The climactic battle in the book is great. It's done really good. Very puts me in the mind of Lord of the Rings. In the any of those epic battles in Lord of the Rings. And when it ended, at the end of this book, I wanted more. Like, it even has like the Marvel end credits kind of cliffhanger thing, so you just want more. And it just let me have so many ideas, like where the story could go from here. Hopefully they eventually come back to this. And again, the font troubles are the same. Like the same. I don't know, I'm just throwing Matt under the bus here. But I just think that decision to go with the dark panel, the dark balloons, and the outlines of the font kind of is what, at least for me, is what does it. But it does. There is improvement. Like it's bigger. I think a lot of the problem is, and I'm not a letterist, but I think a lot of it is the spacing between the lines. I'm going to show you an example. Like on this word balloon right here, like there's a lot of space between the lines. I think that could have been spaced a little bit better, but that's me. That's the way I like to do it. But okay. Now I was saying about the pages. See, like there is this page, okay, and then when you flip it, it is this page, which is set up like practically the same, and I think they would have done better side by side, because this page, it probably took me a good minute to figure out which order to read it in, because in this one you actually start at the bottom and come up and around and then go to this. So I just think that it would look better flipped. I don't know. Again, it's my weird thing of being able to if I have to like sit and try to think of where to go next, it kind of takes me out of the story. But overall, I give this issue a 4 out of 5. It's a great ending. There's a couple like prologues, so you see what's going on and what happens to all the characters. And it's a pretty good ending, actually. One of the things I also liked, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but when I backed one of those, Matt and actually did these Garbage Pail Kid cards, and I know like in their last campaign they actually did those as covers for with different characters, of course, but for Heirs of the Sealed Door versus Tales from Nocturnia. So anyway, I give this issue a 4 out of 5 trash cans. Overall, I give the series a 3.75. A lot of it's the font problems for me, but the story is great. It's a long read, actually, for 3 issues. Like, it took me quite a while, and this is a long review, isn't it? It's like on over 20 minutes. But anyways, I'm just going to wrap up. So overall, Tales from Nocturnia, 3.75. 3.75 stinky, smelly, fly-infested trash cans out of 5. I recommend it if you like things like Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, fantasy stuff like that. Very violent, very story-driven stuff. I check that out. I think they have a website. Yeah, it's www.insymmetrycreations.com, and I will make sure I put that in the in the descriptions and things like that when I tag everybody, and a bunch of other like social medias that you can follow them on. So what this was my honest review for Tales from Nocturnia, and don't forget you can catch the Hooligan Alley Hangout every Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. I have 3 guests lined up for tonight. Guess I can go ahead and tell you who they are in case you want to tune in. We have Will Pedden and his book Heel Turn. Rich Perota and Incantessi number 2. This is Rich's 3rd time on the show. Only person who's been on the show more is Katrina Rotes. She is a 4-timer. I told everybody once they get to 5 times on the show, we will get something special for them, kind of like SNL with the 5-timers club. I will have a 5-timers club, and we can't get smoking jackets, but maybe I'll get everybody something special for that. And then Nicholas Gear and his book, it's Tin Soldier, but it has like a descriptive name like the old Marvel books did. But that's tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern. You tune in. You can catch it on the Facebook page, Hooligan Alley Hangout, or it streams live also on my YouTube page at Hooligan Alley Hangout. But other than that, I hope you guys have a great weekend. I will be back tomorrow with another review. I'm not sure what it is yet, but I have so many that I've got to do. So be sure to check out the channel tomorrow. I'll have some new content for you. And make sure you get out there and support indie creators, whether it be on Kickstarter, Indiegogo, however they're selling their books. And with cons coming back, I know there's some cons this weekend. If you can go and just support the indie creators. If you support like on Kickstarter, Indiegogo, something like that, every dollar helps. But when you support a creator, it allows them to make more comics. And who doesn't want to read comics? That's why we're all here, right? But so go out, have a great weekend, be safe, and I'll see you again here in the alley. Peace out.